What is up, my nerds, and welcome back to another episode of the Nerdy Mind. Well, it is episode 30. I know that I took a break without letting you all know, and I apologize. I took a little bit of a sabbatical, if you would say. When the last episode 29, came out, it was a rerun. I was actually on vacation in Bethany Beach, Delaware with my family, spending time with the wife. And when I got back, I was already in the midst of doing a career change. I was studying for something and I was just preparing, and when I got back, I felt overwhelmed because I wanted to continue the podcast and the gaming channel, but I really wanted to focus on my career change and everything. And it just seemed like I didn't have enough time to do everything. It just, I'm doing the podcast, making sure I get an episode up every week, gaming channel episode up, at least two gaming videos up on the weekends. Then I want to spend time with Nicole and also do house projects. And then my friends want to see me and my family wants to see me. And I just felt like my world was just coming in on me. And all I wanted to do was just retreat somewhere else. And it's not fair because I want to give ample attention to everyone. Like I want to give as much attention to you all as much as I can, because I love talking about nerdy things to you all. I love looking at different tech, anime, games, everything, and playing games with Jason and a bunch of my friends online, and trying to have fun with it, and then along with spending time with my wife to have a healthy marriage, spending time with my family so that we don't think that I don't want to spend time with them, and my friends as well. It's the whole balancing act of life. Most people call it adulting, but to me, it was a little bit more because not only did I have the adulting things to do, I was also feeling stressed out because I was in a job that I was miserable at, and in a career that I felt like. That I feel like that is I've kind of outgrown. And so I'm working on a different path, a path where I feel like I can be more, have more freedom to do what I want to do and be who I want to be. I have a lot of passion for it. I'm not going to really speak on to what it is. I don't want to jinx myself. I just know that I am currently studying for an exam right now. It's a hard exam in my opinion because it's in a field that I have not professionally been in. So it's going to be interesting. I have full confidence in myself. I have already gotten one certificate for the field. I am just working on studying for this test that's coming up so I can get another certification for that field. So that being said, I don't want to drone on about my life. I don't want to make excuses about, I say I don't want to make excuses, but I made an excuse. But I want to give you all my attention and my time. I don't want to just ghost. So I do apologize for not at least releasing a video stating that I was going to take a break. But I have a little bit more free time. I'm going to get more of a balance with this stuff. And I feel like I have more of a hold on it. And this is actually my second recording of this episode. Jason, you seen him on here many of times. He and I were recording, but for some reason, we had the most. If you could think of every technical difficulty known to man, it was happening. For some reason, the program that I used so that way we can link up online together wasn't working. I would talk normally, I can hear him in real time, but for some reason there was a major audio delay on his side. So I would say something, and then all of a sudden I look at him, and he's just blank staring into the camera, and I'm thinking, why aren't you talking? So it was very awkward, and I felt like something was wrong. So I kept asking him, "You good? You good?" And like pausing it and then starting it. So it was kind of weird that way. And then we decided to hop off that program and go to Discord and record through OBS. And for some reason, OBS decided not to record my audio throughout the whole thing. And it was just a nightmare. I was very upset, but I didn't want to deal with it. I just kind of wanted to I was like, okay, it is what it is. I will, come home from work, which is today is actually, I'm recording this Monday, and it's going to come out tomorrow on Tuesday, like usual. So I got finished at work, rushed home, and, did what I had to do so I can get on here. And I'm going to do solo. I'm going to do solo this episode so that way next time I'll have a guest on, probably Jason, Zach, or whoever. And then it'll be back to like normal operating. But you guys are used to me babbling on and on by myself. So what's new? What is new there? But like along with like I was saying, getting into the whole, I would say balancing act of life. As we all do. I'm sure I'm not the only one as a nerd. I go through these phases. Where I watch anime for like a month. I'll binge everything that I have wanted to watch, and then I'll get caught up, and then I'll jump into playing video games, like new video games that I have downloaded. Downloaded Starfield. Have not played Starfield yet. I apologize. But I will play it. I will record it on the gaming channel, and I will play it. I just won't. I can't right now. My focus is on a lot of other things. So the podcast is on my main focus right now. So along with like studying and everything else. So as soon as something gets something gets finished, I will replace it with other things. So at the moment, I am on a huge, huge anime binge. So I was watching One Punch Man and did not finish because I was binging anime, and then I fell off, was playing games, and then I fell off, and then started watching like regular TV shows. Like I was watching the show Billions on Showtime, and then a few others. And then I was like, you know what? I really want to watch anime again. So load up my Crunchyroll app, and then, actually, I think One Punch Man's on Hulu. So I loaded up on Hulu, and I kind of picked up where I left off on One Punch Man and finished the season, and I'm waiting for the next season. So I was like, all right, well, I don't want to just stop watching anime. There's tons of things that my friends or people have been telling me, you got to watch this, you got to watch this, you got to watch this, you got to watch it. So I was like, fine. I'll go to my watch list that I've been putting off for I don't know how long, and got caught up on My Hero, which is very nice. I kind of like where it's going, but in my opinion, and I'll get to the point later on, but I do like what they're doing with My Hero, but it's now getting to the point where it's like really dark, and it's really kind of like throwing me off a little bit. But I'll digress to that point. So I caught up on My Hero. And then I decided to branch out and start watching some new stuff. That a coworker that was telling me to watch. I have like one coworker who watches anime as well, which is, there's not many. I'll admit there's not many guys in the blue collar field that I don't think that are watching anime. But he happens to be one, so it's really cool. But he was telling me a bunch of shows that I should watch. And I had him on my watch list, so I started watching Chainsaw Man. I freaking love Chainsaw Man. If you have not seen it, recommend it. It is demented. There's some messed up stuff in that show. A lot of blood, lot of different things happening. But if that's something that you like, or if you really like humor, it's chock full of it. So it's kind of like, it's gory, but it's got humor in there. Main character is very hilarious. Um, Finished that for now, waiting for the next season to come out of that, and then I jumped into Jujutsu Kaisen. Love Jujutsu Kaisen. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Also recommend that show. Very funny as well. Love the action. Love the whole aspect of the show. It's very, very well done, and the story is amazing. And I decided to do something different. Zach had watched Hayaku, the volleyball sports anime, and he was telling me for a while to, check out some sports anime. They're pretty good. He's not really like a big sports guy, but he loves anime. So he was like, I'm gonna watch a sports anime, so see what it's like. So I decided the same thing. I love sports, but there's not many animes with the sports that I like. So I decided to just give it a try. I watched Blue Lock, which is a soccer anime. It started off slow. I'm not gonna lie. It started really slow. Kind of didn't see the point. I stopped for a second, for like literally a second. I paused it. I was like, why am I watching this? I'm kind of bored. I was like, I'm bored. I don't really see the point. And then I was like, hold up. I was like, let me just try to continue on just a couple more episodes. Maybe it'll pick up. And it did. It definitely picked up. It got more interesting. And I like it. It's different. I'll tell you that. If you've never watched a sports anime, I will tell you right now, it is different. I'll tell you that why it seems different and why I was like hesitant to finish is because when you watch like Jujutsu Kaisen, Chainsaw Man, Demon Slayer, Seven Deadly Sins, like all these fantasy type of um, animes, you have the main character, either his family dies or he's the weakest in the village or he has a purpose. Like the main purpose is the ragtag team of people come together to defeat the big bad, the big evil, whatever, save the world. Whereas in the sports anime, it was very funny because if you've never seen Blue Lock, the whole main purpose is like these elite strikers, which are scorers for the team from different teams, come together to this certain like camp, and essentially they're trying the whole camp is trying to find the best striker in Japan to join the Japanese National League, because I guess the Japanese National League has been really bad in the world of soccer, so they're really trying to like make a name of themselves by recruiting this way. It's like a unique style now. Like it's like pretty much an experiment. So all of them come together. They all play one position as striker, and they kind of form a team, but their merits are all based on how many goals they score in a game. So they're all like competing against each other while on a team. So it's very interesting. But like what made it weird for me is that the whole purpose of the show is that they want to be the best. They want to be the best, striker. Which to me, I'm like, there's no there's no I don't want to say hardship, but like there's no there's nothing trying to like okay, so some of them don't make it, and then the failure of it all, the worst thing that can happen to them is that they can't play soccer anymore. Like their career is done. And to me it was kind of like, who cares? Again, I mean, I played sports. I've never really like competed like at a high level, and never took it too serious. So maybe that part of my brain just doesn't work like that. But I mean, if it came down to like Jujutsu Kaisen or like Chainsaw Man or Demon Slayer, where like a demon's trying to kill you, then I see the whole point of why they want to get stronger because they don't want to die. You know, they life or death. They want to defeat an evil, but like, you know, the main character's like, if I don't score this goal, it's all over, and you're like, okay, like, okay, you don't score the goal. Like, I get it. Like, you want to continue playing soccer. Like, you want to continue on. But, like, I wasn't connected to it. Like, I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Like, maybe sports anime is not my thing. It might not be. Like, I might be completely wrong, and it just might not be my genre anime. And I'm not trying to bash this show. Like, it's a good show. The story's pretty good. But maybe the sports anime is not for me. Like, I want to stick to more like the fantasy and the adventure and the drama style of anime. But that being said, I was talking to a buddy of mine, and I was saying that like anime overall, in my opinion, has changed dramatically. Like, I started watching anime in the '90s with like Gundam, Zoids, and everything, and a lot of different things, but I mainly started off with Gundam, where it was more dramatic and very serious tones. And there wasn't really much comedy. And I would say the big three kind of started by adding comedy parts to it, but I wouldn't say they were like the flagship for comedy in anime. What I would say the flagship show would be One Punch Man. You know, that whole show is pretty much a play on joke on itself because you have Saitama, who is literally an average guy, who was an average guy, who literally just did 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, and like 100 squats, and just became the strongest OP MFer in the world, to where like they don't even, like, he's so secretive and he doesn't even care to be recognized, that he is considered a C rank hero, but all the A and S rank heroes, when they fight like these big monsters, they can't handle it, and all of a sudden Saitama comes in real quick, destroys the monster, dips out to go play video games with King or whatever, and the whole association doesn't even know, so they keep him at a C rank, but he's the actual hero of the show. And he just says the most off-the-wall shit and does the most crazy things, puts no effort at all to killing the monsters and stuff. So it's just hilarious. The things that go on are funny. Let alone you have like King, who's supposed to be like the number one S ranker, and he has no power. He has no skills, but he just like, his heart beats so fast that they call it the king's drum, the king beat or whatever. But it's just his heart pounding so loud that, because of how terrified he is, because he's pretty much taking the credit for Saitama's feats, and it's just funny. So I've noticed like how like Chainsaw Man is supposed to be very dark, very dramatic, and very like gory, but the main character is freaking funny. Like, there was a part, don't want to give too much away, but it's in the beginning of the show where like you know, he gets recruited to join like the demon, pretty much the like demon slaying corps, and he gets put with this veteran slayer, essentially takes him to like an alley, starts whooping his ass. Like, the veteran starts beating up the main character. And the main character is like laying on the ground. And he's like, "Look, man, if you want to fight, I don't want to fight you, but I just want to let you know that I don't fight fair." And the guy's like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "I just, I don't fight fair, and all I do is aim for the balls." So when the guy's not looking, he literally winds back his leg and slams his foot into the guy's balls, and is like dropped to his knees, and all he's doing is just kicking him in the balls, and the guy just like like screaming on the ground, like in serious pain, rightfully so. So the main character drags him, takes him back to the headquarters, and like their supervisor's like, "What the hell happened?" He's like, "Oh, his nutsack was thrashed by a a testicle demon, sir, ma'am," and like that part made me piss my pants because of how like like just how on the nose it was. Like it's just funny, and throughout the whole show, they had some dark parts, but it was very they were just very like funny. So like I think after One Punch Man came out, I think these places and these creators decided, we don't have to be super serious all the time. We can create these shows that are dramatic, but also have awesome, funny, and like intricate humor and built into them. Because I was watching Jujutsu Kaisen, and it is like the same type of thing where, you have Gojo, who is pretty much like a Kakashi esque like hero. Um, Kakashi was Naruto. Kakashi was like the relief at the point, at a point, and same with Guy and everyone. But he's Gojo is like the super strong one. Like everyone underestimates him, so he's kind of goofy. He's like really goofy and says the most awful shit, and like even training like his students, he's like very like not serious, but he is like the most OP guy in the show. So it's just interesting to me because I'm starting to witness more humor in shows, and I love it. I honestly, I, and this is the whole, I'm coming back to the loop to the point where I was saying about My Hero, is that My Hero kind of started off, it was serious, but not serious because you had, All Might, who was like the OP character, super strong, but he was like goofy because he was strong. Like he didn't have to worry about really much of anything. Excuse me. And now that we're on like this Dark Deku arc where, All Might doesn't have powers anymore. Deku's still like he's trying to run from the League of Villains, and he has to defeat the big bad of All for One. And I feel like they kind of lost the tone of the humor part. Unless they're going to get back to that, I just don't see how, because they kind of already eliminated that. They eliminated that. Now it's like really serious and dark tones. It's almost like a Marvel movie turning. It's like almost like Marvel stopped writing jokes in their movies and they became DC essentially. Like DC is writes jokes, and then I'm not trying to hate on my DC people, but like it's almost like if Marvel just stopped writing jokes and just started having dark tones in their movies and shows, and people would be like, what the hell happened, So it's kind of like that. I don't want to drag too much on about it, but I just think it's interesting. Maybe when you guys watch a show again, like watch Jujutsu Kaisen, or if you watch Chainsaw Man, or if you watch Demon Slayer, or you rewatch Naruto, whoever, um, kind of pick up on and go back to the 90s and watch some of the anime then and see if you see a difference. And you probably will. And you're probably thinking, of course there's a difference, It was different time, different style, different everything. But I'm just saying, overall, I feel like anime is growing, and I like the way it is growing. That's pretty much what I'm saying. I kind of like the way they're going with it all, where they're putting more jokes into the show, making it not as serious. Like Demon Slayer, there are parts where you're like clinching and you're on the edge of your seat, hoping that Tanjiro can defeat the demon. But then, like when he's training and he has, his buddies with him, and they're like just doing almost off the wall stuff, you just can't not laugh. So I kind of like how they break it up, and I think that's why Marvel was also so successful, because there were serious moments, but they had the funny tones in it to kind of break up the things. Like you can't be on edge of your seat all the time. That's why I don't think I can really watch my Attack on Titan. I have not finished it yet, and it's just because like it's so serious all the time that I can't stand to be on the edge of my seat. I kind of want to be able to relax and just watch something, but have the edge of your seat type of scenes in certain episodes. Like I can deal with it at an extent, but not all the time. So I don't want to keep harping on it. I don't want to keep harping on that, but like, it's just something that has changed, and I think it's interesting. Another thing that I could say about change is that I don't know if you've noticed, but PlayStation. I know it's the most random, like off the wall, like you're going from anime to PlayStation, but I just was thinking about it. Is that like recently PlayStation had changed their price on their Play Store, and few people were up and roar about it because of how much it is, and I was noticing a difference between the Play Store. So like, I don't know what Sony really factors into this stuff, because so when I was on the Play Store and PlayStation Plus, they have a lot of old school games. Like you can have a library of PlayStation 1, 2, if I'm not mistaken, there's 3 on there. And obviously you can play PlayStation 4 games and so on and so on. But I've noticed that if I'm on Game Pass, they give away pretty much new releases off the like name full on name games that are just coming out. And I think that's interesting. So I don't know why Xbox has the ability to do this or why they do this versus PlayStation. And I was talking to Jason about this. Like, I don't know if it has to do with like, I'm not hating on either one. Like, I'm not trying to hate on Xbox or PlayStation. I have both. I used to be a big PlayStation guy. I never had Xbox. My cousins had Xbox, but I didn't. I would play certain games on Xbox. But now that I have both, I'm kind of starting to see the differences, and I've noticed that Xbox really focuses on giving you the experience of giving you the games. They just give you the games, they give you the overall entertainment part, where, in my opinion, Sony focuses heavily on the hardware part. Now you could say, well, Xbox X and PlayStation 5 have the same specs. But that being said, when I play the PlayStation 5, I notice a completely different console. Like, in my opinion, like, I have the 4K screen. I feel like if you have the 4K screens or TV or whatever, and you hook up a PlayStation 5, you get like immersed into it. Like, it is unreal on the focus point on what PlayStation and Sony has done with the PlayStation 5. Not that Xbox doesn't have that, but I just don't feel like when I'm playing the games on Xbox, I'm just playing the game. But when I'm playing like I played Final Fantasy 16 on the PS5, I like spent, I would say, about an hour just looking around and was just like, holy crap, like the detail. And when you go from the cutscenes, like the CGI cutscenes and the art of it all, and it goes into the actual gameplay, it's like seamless. It's crazy how detailed we've gotten with the games. And along with, I would say, the quality of controller. So a lot of people dislike the PlayStation controller. They didn't like the PlayStation 3 or 4 controller. Granted, I get it. I've only had PlayStation, so I didn't understand at the time. But after having an Xbox, I can understand it's very comfortable. But the PlayStation 5, I feel like they stepped it up because it definitely is way more comfortable. The handles are longer. It fits in your hand better. But they also added that haptic feedback in the controller. And that haptic feedback, if you've not played a PlayStation 5 and you have a friend who has one, ask him to just set you up with a game that utilizes haptic feedback. because it is the most interesting and off the wall, crazy experience. It's almost like a 4D experience with your controller. I play Gran Turismo on the PlayStation 5, and driving around the track, if you're in a straight line, acceleration's easy, braking is easy. Going around a corner, going at a certain speed, you try to hit the brake, it has that resistance to it where you're like, holy crap, what's going on? It's because it's giving you like the 4D experience, like you're actually in the car, like the overall rumble, but you're also like hitting the brakes going to be harder because you're going at a certain speed. So it's interesting. So in my opinion, I think Sony like focuses on giving you like the overall hardware experience, like with the graphics and the controller, and then the game part kind of comes on the back end. So they don't really give you like full games that are being released. You just have to buy those, but then they have like the old digital copies of games that you can download. Whereas Xbox, not that this is cheap, but it's not as quality in my opinion, but they give you the overall experience of giving you like name brand games like Starfield. So it's interesting to me on how these two tech giants compete against each other, like Apple. Apple's been in the news lately because they're coming out with the new the iPhone 15, and I am not going to, you know, I am not going to like say I'm for or against this team. I've had both. I've had Samsung and I've had iPhone. Currently, I have iPhone because I have a Mac. I have a MacBook. I have an iPad. So for me, I have just, immersed myself in the Apple universe. It's easier for me to transfer files with AirDrop, especially with editing the videos and everything. It just makes it overall seamless. And I know you can do that with Samsung, but I didn't do it. I just had a Samsung Galaxy phone, or I guess what they're on now is like S phones now, S23. I had them, but I didn't really I didn't have like a desktop computer, didn't have the tablets, so I didn't really get immersed into the Samsung universe, which is fine because Samsung is right below in sales for phones and everything, right below Apple. But it's just interesting to me that like Apple is coming out with the iPhone 15, and they are marketing like this is like the next, it's the greatest iPhone they've ever made. Sorry, I'm grabbing some water. And I started doing more research about it, and it seemed like that they kind of make you feel like you're stupid. And this is my opinion, and I am not an Apple fanboy, so I don't just, I don't think whatever Apple says is gospel. So you might be thinking, well, Shane, this is obvious. But to some people, it just drives me crazy because take Apple Vision, for example. I have a coworker who is like on Apple's titty, pretty much. He has the Apple Watch Ultra. I didn't even know they had an Ultra, but apparently they do. He has like the best Apple Watch you can buy, the Ultra one. And I was like, why did you spend the money on the Ultra? He's like, well, it can do this, can do that, blah, blah, blah. I was like, well, mine can do that too. But he may had like a couple different features that I didn't really care about. That being said, then he like whips out his MacBook and he has like the MacBook Pro. And I'm like, okay. And he was like, yeah, I'm really excited for Apple Vision because I really want those. And I was like, well, I mean, with the hefty price tag that they're going to come with, I think they're like, what, $3,000? He's like, yeah, but it's going to be well worth it because like I can watch TV and then like control things with my hand and blah blah blah. And I'm like, yeah, but like I can do that with my Oculus Quest too. Like I can do those things with the price tag of $300, you know? And he didn't want to believe me. He's like, you can't use your hands to select apps. I was like, yeah, I can. I can put my controllers down and show my hand gestures and swipe through and collect things and do things with my hands. And he was like, no way. I was like, I will bring the Oculus in and show you that it can do this stuff. And he's like, well, I can watch TV. And I was like, I can watch YouTube. I can download Netflix and everything on my Oculus, let alone play games on the thing and connect it to the computer and play big games on the Oculus, which Apple Vision will not play games from what I hear at the time. And he's like, well, can you see through it? Like, can you, like, when you have it on, can you see people? I'm like, yeah. I mean, you create a boundary, or if you don't have the boundary on and you, like, step out of place, then, yeah, it allows you to see the space, like, whatever. And he's like, yeah, but, like, can you, like, see the person's face when you get up close? I'm like, no, like, and that's not how it works, because Apple's marketing team is amazing, and they're not going to tell you that's not how it actually works. I was telling them, like, the cameras inside, pretty much the LiDAR and the cameras take imagery of your face or your eyes, and they project it on the screen on the front, because that's an actual screen, and it simulates what your eyes are doing at that moment, because it's tracking. And he's like, no, that's not how it works. It actually opens up like glass. I'm like, I can't talk to you because I'm telling you the truth. I want you to listen, and I research the stuff, but you can't. He's the type of person who's gonna buy the newest iPhone, and it's just crazy to me. Like, I get that Apple's never going to be like kill their business by saying, don't. If you have an iPhone 14, this phone isn't going to be for you. Like, don't buy it. If you have an iPhone X or 11, then yeah, you want to upgrade, because I think I've seen where Apple's sales have decreased in the past 4 years because people were kind of catching on, like, the new phones weren't really upgrades unless you bought, like, the premium iPhone Plus, like a 14 Plus. But then when the new phone comes out, the base phone is going to be like the iPhone. Like, so like the iPhone 14 Plus is going to be the iPhone 15 essentially. So whatever the 14 Plus has, the 15 specs are that. So I think Apple sales are going to boom right now because there's tons of people that have the older phones, and are going to use the 15 as the upgrade. But if you have a 14 and you want to have the experience of, like, upgrades, you got to shell out the money for the big boy, the iPhone 15 Plus. That comes with the action button. That comes with the 5x zoom camera. So the action button, if you don't know, is not the switch anymore. It has an actual button where you don't have to have that as your silence. You can have it be toggled for your camera. It could be toggled for anything, really. It's an adjustable button. You can change it. So it's interesting to me that you have to shell out the whopping money of almost $2,000, I think, for the phone, and it's crazy to me. Not that Samsung doesn't do it too, but I feel like when Samsung is releasing a phone, there really are upgrades, in my opinion. But I will never really go back to Samsung unless of two things. They can figure out how, like, if they for some reason made a pact with Apple and you could send messages to iPhone over Wi-Fi, like iMessage, which is very nice, very convenient, and you were able to transfer files of like easily. That's the only reason why I would switch back to Samsung, which is because of those two things. And it's sad, but those are very important to me because the overall convenience. Now, iPhone is simplistic. I do love Samsung's customability. Like I would love it. I love to be able to change so many things. Apple is very slow with giving you that type of uh, customability. Like widgets. Like we just got widgets on the iPhone. Uh, what in a couple like maybe 2 years ago, and there's been widgets on the Android phone since the beginning of time. So it's just interesting to me that Apple says that they're innovating and they're doing, you know, uh, I'm not trying to like bash them, but they say like, oh, we have Face ID or we have this or we have that. When Samsung or Android were using those things too, and they created them as well way back then, but they just didn't focus their energy on it. And Apple people, you know, even though I have iPhone, I don't consider myself an Apple person. They're like, Apple can't do any wrong. Like, oh no, Apple created it. They're the ones, they pioneered it all. And I'm like, no. But you can believe what you want to believe. Everyone can believe what they want, you know? I'm not going to continue to harp on it. You know, I'm just saying, do research, people. Like, just do your research. Make sure you understand what you're buying because I don't want you to spend your hard earned money and be let down when it came to, say, you have an iPhone 14, but you're like, oh, I really want the upgrades. I really want the, new camera and I want all this stuff, but you don't realize, like, okay, I can't buy like a regular 15. I got to spend the extra money and buy the big phone. And I would say the biggest change that iPhone made was they have a USB-C now. But they didn't make that decision for themselves. They were forced into that idea. They were forced into that change because of the European Union. European Union said that if you don't change it to USB-C, pretty much to cut cost, cut waste, because now everything can use one charger, then you can't sell your phones here. So make your decision. And Apple is not going to be like, well, I got enough sales around the world. I don't need you, Europe. No. So they changed it and they made it USB-C finally. Of course, I'm not going to buy the new phone, so I won't have the ability to have the USB-C, but I will eventually. And it's nice to know that I can, if say my friends have the new the phone, I'll have plenty of chargers because the iMac has the fucking USB-C ports. My iPad uses USB-C. My MacBook uses USB-C. So everything I have in my home uses USB-C except for my iPhone. And it's annoying because, I can hook everything else up by USB-C, but I have to make sure I have that lightning cable for my iPhone. So it's interesting. And the next interesting thing would be that I think in 2025, in Europe, they're required to have removable batteries. So I don't know what Apple's going to do about that because they've always had internal batteries and you could not remove them. And it's going to be really interesting because if we are able to remove things out of, like, if we can remove the battery out of the iPhone, we can make the battery better or bigger, which is nice because I don't know if you notice, sometimes when you do the updates, it kills batteries and you can overall change things to them. So I don't think Apple's going to like that. So then you can also send your phone to a regular repair shop. You don't have to take it to Apple Repair. So I don't know. I'm not going to keep harping on it. I've kind of made my peace with it. I just want to try to inform people, pay attention to what's going on. It's marketing, obviously, but that's all I got for you. It's going to be a little bit shorter. It's kind of hard to kind of talk about things without someone here. I am essentially talking to myself and in my brain. So it's weird. I'm not used to it as of yet because I've kind of took a break, and talking to myself is not, I really haven't gotten used to just being talking to myself by myself. But yeah, so I at least wanted to record this for y'all. As I promised on Saturday with the video saying that I was going to release something. So I wanted to at least, even if I couldn't get someone on here, I wanted to at least record it myself. So, stay tuned. The video versions of the podcast are on the YouTube channel, The Nerdy Mind. So if you want to check out, see my ugly face, you can go on the YouTube channel and watch it there. Or if you want to listen to the audio version, go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and many others. I'm on pretty much all the audio streaming services that people can get, and I'm on there. So check it out every Tuesday at 5 o'clock. The videos get released, and the audio versions get released as well. So yeah, just take a look at those or listen to them. Like, comment, and subscribe. Likes help. Comments help. If you want me to talk about certain things or the things that I don't really hit and you want to hear about it, and if I may not know it, I will research it for you and I will dig deep because I love doing that. I spend hours and hours in my office just looking at things. And I probably drive my wife crazy because I spend all my time in my office like a hermit. And it's just what I love to do. It's just what I do. So yeah, leave a comment on what you would want me to talk about. Or if you have something or a comment of something that I said about anime or about like Xbox versus PlayStation, Apple versus Samsung, leave a comment. Leave your opinion. I would love to hear from you and just overall get your opinion on those things. But yeah, as always, stay nerdy, my friends.